You're listening to Project 35, a project that I'll be interviewing 35 women coming from different countries and backgrounds. So let's listen to their stories and cheer them on their own unique journey. And I hope you will enjoy it as much as I do. Hi, Lei, how are you doing today?
Morning, Tiffany. Glad to see you again.
Very, very happy to see you again. And first of all, thank you so much for giving me the chance to interview you and being a part of Project 35. I find our paths are quite interesting in a way that we cross path in terms of our career a few times, in fact, 3 times, but we only got a chance to really work together at the same time in my last company. And what I love about you is that your positive energy, you have such a contagious smile, and the way that you always greet everybody. And just now how we started the conversation, I have a lot of questions for you around this. But first come first, would you like to, give a bit of introductions about yourself? Maybe where are you from, where are you currently located, your job, as well as maybe what do you enjoy doing during your free time?
Sure. Well, first, of course, Tiffany, I want to thank you also. It's more of like supporting women. Because what you're doing is really needed right now because you have a platform wherein you inspire people with the stories that you share. And I follow your Instagram because
Thanks for your
I like the
support.
more the food. I do try. I don't cook, but we do try, and it tastes good and it's healthy. So my name is Alellie, but most of you would call me Lei. I'm from the Philippines, but I've been staying in Singapore for since 2008. So it's more than 10 years. So I haven't been home for a while. I
Mm.
have 2 kids. I'm working in ad tech, for the past, I think, more than 5 years now. It was a shift in work, but I made a good choice at the right time. It wasn't easy at the beginning, but I learned a lot through that journey. In my spare time, I try to be healthy. It's tough. Like I try to run or either bike. And what I learned about it is that when I'm stressed and I just need fresh air, and it gives me
Mm.
something, a boost when I'm outside, and it's free. So I like it a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see. Love it. Love it. So you have been in Singapore for quite some time and you have your
Yes.
family here. So how do you find living in Singapore so far? What do you love the most about this
Great.
country?
Okay, so from the country where I came from, it's also good. It's a huge country, but I think when you're starting a family, your
Mm.
priority is your family and safety. And that's what
Mm.
I get here in Singapore. I enjoy it a lot. That's why I'm here for quite a while now. And family wise, it's very conducive. School is great. Work wise, I learned a lot, in fact. Because when you work in Singapore, it's not just mostly in the Philippines, it's contact center and it's the American clients, but here you get to learn different cultures. And I think that's one thing that I would thank this country for. I wouldn't know how to deal with Asian countries, how to do business with like Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, now even India. So I learned a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I know that recently you just came back from India, right? How was the trip?
It's my first time,
Yeah, I heard
and
that.
obviously I don't know what to expect, other than the work side, but it's great. I enjoyed it a lot. We were quite ambitious. We actually went there for a week, but we visited 3 cities. I wouldn't
Mm.
do that again though, because it's a bit
Why?
exhausting. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, we just felt like, oh, we want to meet as much clients as we want,
Mm.
and it wouldn't be cost efficient if I stay for a week, just to add 2 more days, and then um overall results was good, but the
Mm.
exhaustion was different. But what I like about the country is that everyone was very hospitable,
Mm.
and service was great, and then food was great.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
nice.
so because I love biryani, so I got the authentic ones. Yeah, it was a great
Mm.
experience. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I've never been to India, but after what you have shared with me, I feel, that I should at least visit the country once. And yeah, thanks for sharing, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the trip as well. Yes, and Lei, there is one, like burning questions I wanted to ask
Mm,
you for a really long
I'm
time.
hoping I can answer.
For sure, for sure.
Okay,
Is
okay,
that is your energy, I don't know if you know that, but me and another colleagues in the team, we always, every time when it came to our Monday meeting, we was like, oh, it's late turn to talk. And every time when you started, sharing something, your voice is just so energetic, and your positivity that is really uplifting. And I can feel that is have such an impactful impact on people around you. So what is your secret behind the positivity? Were you always this person, or was there something that happened along the way that make you to be the person that you are today? Yeah.
okay. I'll be very open just for you.
Okay.
But thank you. If you feel that I create a positive energy to others. So I guess there's always a backstory, right? When people are always smiling. So I had a different childhood. So we're not the conventional family. Um but my mom was great. Like she made sure, like she was a single parent. Um and she made sure that we are in a good family. Like and during my period, it was very taboo to have that kind of setup, especially in a country wherein it's a Catholic country, and for them that's taboo. But aside from, despite having that experience, so I've gone through a lot when I was young, struggles with like my father and the other family and so on. um and I always think like, one problem you fix it, but there's another problem that comes after it. So then I realized, okay, there will always be problems in life, but you get to solve it at the end of the day. And there will be more that's got, because I was still young, I was in my teens. Then I realized, then that's life, right? You'll have problems today, it might take you months, years to solve it, but it will be fixed. So I guess that's where I got the positivity and the strength of my mother. She was able to go through things, put us in good school on her own. Then that's where I get the strength. And she didn't show us that she was struggling. So I guess that's where I see the positivity. Like yeah. And I'm hoping I get to show that to others. That's why when we're having challenges in the office, I just try to be as calm as possible, because when you're not calm, you think of other things and you can't focus. So for me, just calm yourself first. I'm not saying I don't get rattled, I do. So when I'm in that state, I have to step back a bit and I need to find my peace first. Either I walk, I do what I want, and then when I'm more settled, I come back. Okay, what do we need to do? So even my sister would tell me, "You're always a fixer." It doesn't work. It doesn't always work. Okay, so even with my kids, right? Sometimes I have to do it differently, because you can't just always fix. You have to let others fix themselves. But I know I'm digressing a bit, but that's where the positivity comes from. Like when you've gone through a couple of problems when you were young, you just have to choose. I always believe in this philosopher. This is the only philosopher that I remember. You are condemned to be free. So it's always your choice. When something happens, it's your choice. Do you want to just sulk and be sad forever, or you just accept it, learn, and then move on? So I always go with the positive side.
Wow,
Yeah.
I love that, because recently during one of the interview that I interviewed one of the lady, she did mention about childhood trauma, and she said whatever happened in the childhood time, they have a great impact later, even in adulthood. And I love what you have shared is that instead of letting the experience, the what happened in the past affecting you, you actually choose to make a choice in your life. You choose to make a difference and to be happy and live your life with such positivities. And I just really love that. And thanks so much for sharing. And you also mentioned with me earlier that, it's sometimes it's also can be hard, dealing with your kids and stuff. So when it comes to motherhoods, right? how do you make sure that your child are open enough and they feel comfortable sharing things with you?
Okay, that's still a work in progress for me, because I think I'm a very young parent. So I had my kids when I was only 25, my first child, and I think now it's more of like I'm not perfect, so so we're not there yet. But for them to be open, I just try to be a friend, but sometimes I can be very strict as well. So that's where I bring my partner with me, my husband. So we need to balance each other, and he would coach me when I'm becoming too strict, and he then we play the roles that is needed. So because I'm always afraid, especially when you're having a teenager, that is when they start to try to have their own ways, try to find their self. But sometimes, right, as parents, you're very conservative and protective, and you always forget, like, oh yeah, she's 16. When I was 16, I feel like I'm an adult, that I can decide for myself. So I need to strike that balance. I'm not there yet, because I'm always afraid. Um, because what how my kids were brought up is that they're very sheltered compared to where how I was brought up. So that's something that I'm starting to accept. Like my childhood is different than theirs, and sometimes, right, it's a double-edged sword. I feel like since they're too sheltered, there's always a question mark. Can they are they ready when I'm gone? Like when they're no longer inside the house, can they survive? So I guess that's what's something that's still holding me back. So having that conversation with my daughter, I'll be very honest, it's not easy, because we are in that stage wherein I will say something and she will repel. um so we are in that stage. And then when I was a young parent, I did something that wasn't right for her, wherein I was just working a lot. And to what your friend mentioned, some childhood really affects the kid as they grow old. So that's something that I can't repair. And it's tough, because when I say the same thing to her, like, you always have a choice. Like, I I'm sorry for what I did when you were young, but that's something that I can't change. So I know it won't it's something that she won't understand right now, because I always explain to her, try to be selfish. Just think about yourself. Um, if I did something wrong, try to make it more positive on your side. Like, think of yourself. Like, don't do something negative just to make me upset. Because at the end of the day, it's you will be the one who will be suffering, not me. Because I'll grow old and it's your life. So we are in that stage of still discussing things. And in fact, Tiffany, when I watch her videos, I'm even thinking of asking her, you should watch Sylvia's video. Yeah, because we always need to learn from each other and inspire, and it's not always positive. You will have your ups and downs, and you just need to find the right people to speak to, and support you.
Yes. Thanks so much for sharing this, Lay, because I think it works as a reminder for myself as well. I had Rachel when I was 26, and initially when she was young, she didn't ask much, but eventually when she started to aware of things, there was a time when I was very busy working, and every time when she asked me, I said, wait a minute. And then one day she was just say that, Mommy, why you're always working? Is it work more important, or is it me that's more important? And when she asked me that, I was so taken back, and it took me a pause. And I think it's also one of the reasons why I decided to go into this journey, because I feel that childhood is only limited. Eventually, like you mentioned, they will grow up, they will have their own life, they will eventually leading the wave and living separately from us, and we won't be able to always spend time with them.
Yes.
So what you have shared is work great as a reminder for me. And I think is like you mentioned, I think in terms of parenting, right, it's always working in pairs. It's not just you, and you
Mm.
have your partners who are there to support you, to calm you down sometimes. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your husband as well. And I think you guys are such a cute, compatible, pair. So would you mind to
Okay.
share a little bit more about him as well?
Yo, yeah, sure, sure. I would always tease him in front of friends, but definitely I love the guy. I've been with him since 2001. Um, Married since 2004. I'm not good in math. So I met him when I was in uni. Typical story. I didn't like him at first. It was a long courtship, but eventually we end up together. People in school will get surprised when they see us together because they never thought that we'll end up together. So he's a very funny guy, smart, funny guy, and I guess that's where my positivity probably comes also because um at we got married very young. There were a lot of ups and downs, and yet we never argued a lot in terms of finances or anything else, except for kids, because kids is a different story. And he's more of like a very friendly father. He's more of like play with the kids, and I'm more of a disciplinarian. So we need to strike the balance. And he would always tell me like, your delivery is too harsh. The words that you're using are too harsh. And it's also a good reminder that someone stops me and reminds me like that wouldn't help your child. That wouldn't help our daughter if you continue doing that. It's not easy because you have your reasons for doing things, and you always end up trying to defend yourself, but it's good that he's very openly sharing these things with me because it keeps me grounded. Like, you're not always right, like you have to revisit what you're doing, and then appreciate that with my husband. Yeah.
I love that. And I guess it takes time, right? It's not like we as a parent, when we born as a parent, it was our first time being a parent, and we make a lot of mistakes along the way. But
Mhm.
I'm so glad that you have someone who is on your side, who is supporting you, who giving you a different perspective when it's come to parenting. So really love that. Yeah. And so usually in the free times, what do you guys enjoy doing together as a family in Singapore?
We love to eat, so we eat.
Oh,
Yeah, or
okay.
either we take out or we go out and eat. Now that my kids are older, so they have different likes. So for my son, he likes history, and then I also
Mm,
like that. So when there's like a museum or any tours, we would go together as a family.
mm,
Sometimes my daughter would join, sometimes she wouldn't. We like going to the beach, so sometimes we do staycation. Then my daughter will join us, or if we're eating out in a good restaurant, that my daughter will join us. So these are the
mm.
things that we do together. My husband, so my I'm trying to recruit my son to do biking. So we did that
Oh,
one. So we'll try to do more. My daughter
love
doesn't know
that.
how to bike yet, so I'm asking her like try to learn so we can bike as a family. Then it's easier to
Mm,
travel. I try to be healthy. I mentioned earlier, so we have a
mm.
trainer, so that's where I bring my daughter with me. So we do
Oh,
train
okay.
every Friday.
That's good.
Imagine you're going to the gym with your daughter, so that's how old she is. Yeah, so
Mm.
that's somewhat our bonding. Yeah.
I see, I see. So you mentioned a few times that you really wanted to be healthy and involve the family as well. So what is your bigger challenge when it comes to being healthy? What are the things that you feel that often holding you back?
I love chips. I love junk food
Okay,
and
okay.
chocolate. So it okay, during my India trip, since I don't have time to buy chips, I managed to not
Mm,
eat chips for 1 week. I normally eat it every
mm,
day. And since I came back, I only ate once. So I think I'm
mm,
just trying to keep it first, like for the next 3 months. Plus, my husband suffers from kidney stones. I shared it with
mm,
you. So I think it's good that I stopped that for a long period. I'll probably give
mm,
myself like once in a month, and it's also for my son because we're the same. We like chips, and he's still
Mm.
very young, so I feel like it won't be good for his health if he eats it every day. So I don't buy it anymore. Chocolate is something that I can't live without, so I'll just try to
Mm.
minimize that. So
I
there,
see.
and yeah.
Okay, so your weakest spot here seems to be chips, and you realize that when it's far away from reach, like when you don't have the exposure to it, it seems easier to control, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. I think it's actually works the same for almost everybody. I think the moment we see it in the reach, right, when we're busy or when we are hungry or feel like craving for something, if it's just within our reach, then why not? But the moment we keep
Yes.
it away, it's actually so much easy to control it. And I love that you have found a way, a method that works for you and also work for your son as well. Really, really glad to hear. Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing with me, Lei. I really enjoy all the stories that we've shared, and continue to spread your positivity because it really means a lot, especially during my time. It's really helped me to make my Monday become a lot more joyful. So
Oh, thank you.
keep up on that spirit. And before we saying goodbye, is there one last word, one last message that you wanted to share to the audience, especially to the lady who listened to our conversation today?
Wow, it's a simple question, Tiffany, but it's well, I think it's more of problems doesn't end.
Hmm.
Um, maybe at work, family,
Hmm.
um, but just I always think of what's the reason why I'm experiencing this. What can I
Hmm.
learn out of this experience? Um, and sometimes even if it's very tough, I just tell myself, oh, probably the gods are just teaching me how to be strong. So the next day I can just face any problems. So I think just having that mindset, um, and if you need help, it's fine. You can
Hmm.
talk to your friend, talk to your husband. If you don't have a husband, that's fine. Go to your mom or anyone else, or we have our own beliefs. If you need to go to the temple, to the church, and just be quiet, that's fine. So
Hmm.
I think it's more of don't give up. For me, never give up. Even if
Hmm.
you feel like it's the end of the road when you're sick or someone's sick, just fight up until the end. And
Hmm.
regardless of what the results are, at least for me, I ask myself, did I do everything? If my answer is yes, then I'm fine, regardless of what
Hmm.
the result is.
Love that. Thank you so much, Lei.